you to do today, like with this tutorial, is so the whole week, most of my tutorial is focused in helping you around the challenge. So the challenge is you get a you have a website, a source that you need to get some data, starting data with, which is, and then you scrape it. So HTML is just a structured data, a graph data, and then ability to extract from a graph data or structured data. So XML, HTML, all of them are just basically highly structured data, right? So we try to pull that data. One is slightly easier. You have just only a kind of header, and the other one is slightly complicated, and you need to go deeper in beautiful soup and kind of like get into the browser and inspect the element, find out which part of the class it is, and then you pull that, and then you try. And it's not only because the website also gives it in two ways. One way is that just it's a line, and the other the other part is a block. So that means that it actually is an embedding. So we want to extract from both of them. And so we have to be clever about how do you do that. There is always a learning experience. So for example, I can tell you for what I did is just I look at it and then I see what are the similarities between the embedding one and the now one. And in both, and when I look both of them, they contain something common that normally doesn't happen in all of the other the other page. So scraping is sometimes really being kind of looking around and seeing like, okay, if I gonna extract a certain keyword, then I most likely will have a high signal. Like, so in this case, this twitter.com with a certain status element in it will allow me to actually pull a lot of the data easily. So I don't, so that's really what is scraping. Sometimes it's just, you sometimes need to do some thinking, and then that's in Python, you can then do some string, like, okay, you can split. Oh, no, not yet. I will share. So, but it's what I'm saying is that you will be able to look at something and kind of find a pattern in it, and then leverage that pattern. So in this case, twitter.com, if you split on a text, whatever you pull out using Python string split, if you split it into that and then with a status next, then you get basically the Twitter handle easily, just because none of them have that split, none of them will survive. So it's really like that, with a simple string looping over the list, and then just doing some kind of string split will give you exactly what you want. So now I'm going to share my screen. So for example, here is what I just did, and I'm going to share with you at some point this one. So this is just what I pull from that, right? So, and then I put it just in Google Sheet. Why do I want to put it in Google Sheet? I want to share it with you in the first place. Why can't I share with you in CSV? It's fine, but what about I change now? Like, let's say tomorrow I extract something else. So this is, for example, the African influencers. There is another sheet. This is that I extracted from one of the website that has, and then this one is from Africa Govs that are just one of the website that you are supposed to extract, right? So that one has element of 44. The elements are 44. So it's basically just, I need to add also, it doesn't contain, I know the African countries are not only 44 and more, but also I want to get some of other government or officials just in this one. So I will keep doing it, but I want it to be in one place such that everyone, and next, not only for you, but to the world that I want to share. Next, I want to build a website from which I can pull the data, right? And then display it. If it's in CSV, then I'm it's like, it's not a nice way to keep up. But if it is in Google Sheet, usually the Google Sheet, you can share it, you can edit it, you can even do a lot of stuff here that easily that, like you will see like that the knowing Google Sheet is like the same as a database. It's like you can really do a lot of stuff. Like you can create a new column with a formula that does this, that does that. It has all the very, very big capability in doing string manipulation, number manipulation and stuff. So I can populate later, and I have a lot of sheets. So this is something that I keep using in all of them as a configuration file for example, for the company I work, I use Google Sheet for configuration file. So instead of having some kind of file that I list the model, the parameters to the model, I put it in Google Sheet, such that I will show you one. Okay, maybe I can't show you because I am not in Chrome, but there's many ways that that these things becomes useful. Putting it in Google Sheet for collaboration, we can simultaneously edit it, and whatever we edit will exist for another person to come and fetch it, right? So, but coming and fiddling by hand and putting these things by hand would be slightly tricky. Why? Because like we sometimes want to, from our Python code, we need to just load this data. So if I give you, I want you to just go and load the data from Python, not just copy it into CSV. That's not how data scientists work. I want you to just pull it directly from Python. What do we do? What are the elements to use that? APIs. And Google is the best place. They have an amazing API. You can do whatever you want with Google API. So with Google API, earlier I was talking about, you can actually create a button on your Google Meet such that it actually accepts and adds things. It's a JavaScripting. And where do I get that? It's called here, script editor, right? You can do, you see my screen, right? Okay. So
Yeah,
here
see it.
you can have a script editor, and then you can basically write in that script editor. Basically, it's a JavaScript thing. So I can write a JavaScript, and this will just compile and apply on my Google Sheet. So it's really, I can write anything, and that is the same for email. I can pull my email, I can pull out of the forms, I can, so anything you can think of, you can do it with by adding script. All of add-ons are done using the script, whatever add-on you think of. So that's why there is a high power for every data scientist to be able to have something like Google Sheet in such a way that you can easily do a lot of the stuff, like a lot of the sharing components and getting data and dumping data and collaborating on a kind of database, visual database, which is Google Sheet, right? So today's tutorial is that we'll use this data. That is the one I extracted. I want you to still do the web scraping, but I will share with you this one at some point, either tomorrow. But also I would like you to then extend it with whatever you find, right? So I am now switching to another window, which is my Jupyter notebook. So I wrote here a small, again, class, a Python class. I love, why I love Python classes, because I can organize my code. So the authentication part of, so this is a Google API. You need to install Google client, just a Python pip install that. But after that, that's it. Then I write here, there are some scopes. So whatever, if I want to pull files, whatever, from my Google Drive, I use this scope. If it is a presentation, if I'm working on my presentation, adding elements, whatever, using API, just Python code, you can do purely using Python code. You can write, your Google presentation that is using this one. And if it's also read-write on your Google Sheet, that's the spreadsheets, okay? And so this is the init code, just that basically initialize everything. The only requirement I have is that I have to create a Google API. Now secret and basically just a configuration file for my Google API. So a way to be able to connect, and that is here in bio. Like in my case, is that one, and it looks. How do we do that? I'm gonna go through it, but it's called a service account, a Google service account. So if you have a Gmail, you just go and create a Google service account. Okay, and so after that, you basically link to it, and here my code just reads your like your service account basically. And if it's not a service account, it will be a token. I will delete this one because we don't need it. We only use service account actually. So before I share with you, here I am editing it. And the type of service I can get the Drive, the Google Drive, or the Google Sheet, or the Google Slide. But I can't add any. If you have other things, you basically just add. You add in the scope. That's it. Nothing more. And then here is just the main other. So this is like the authentication part of the code, the Google API, and I subclass it, basically just to make it together. And then I have a Google Sheet that basically just kind of does the actual read write. So in this case, I will have to give a sheet ID. What is sheet ID? I will come to it just because I am switching between windows. Unfortunately, in Firefox, I cannot share everything. It will slow it down my computer. So I will finish here, and then I will go to the browser, to Firefox, such that I can show you all this. But one thing you should know is that sheet ID is like whenever you open a Google Sheet, there is an ID between google.com and something else. So in that thing, there is called, that's what's called sheet ID. I will show you, and that's all you need. And then basically, as long as you give the name, that's it. And then this code basically will do the sheet ID, the sheet name, and the drive, the Google Sheet. It will initialize all. And there is a thing called Google Sheet data frame. So it basically converts, it reads your sheet. The name is basically the sheet. So in one Google Sheet, you can have multiple sheets. So so that will be one. So that's just the name of that. That's it. And then it will read and return for you data frame. You can also update if you want to, for example, update some of the columns, there is a way, there's sheet update. And if you want to update only add a single entry into the cell, you have the single update. That's the code does. You can read and write into your Google Sheet simply with this code. And how do you call it? Basically, you give it a sheet ID to initialize it, and then basically you get, so in this case the gate, you get basically the sheet within that sheet ID. So like the worksheet, one of the worksheet using a name. Okay, so that's the code. I will share with you this code, but this is the tutorial in such a way that I go through it and then I will share with you. And then it's not, there is nothing here, as I said, there's nothing to deliver. I'm not asking you to solve any question, but if you are interested in these things, it will become the most indispensable thing for you to be able to connect with Google Sheet. And so, take it, it's more of like updating you what in the data science job you will do. And you can try, you can ask me, but there's nothing to deliver. And I will share with you both the code as well as the data to play. And then I ask you to collaborate there with me to update this list in such a way that we keep an up-to-date, influencers database, as well as also government Twitter handles. Okay. Okay. So with that, now I go back to thing, and I will go through the process of creating a Google service account, and I will show you what are the sheet ID that is required, right? So now I go here. Okay, so first let me try. So this is the Google Sheet I just showed you earlier. When I say the workbook name, so these are the workbook names, So this is one of the book is called, or one of the sheet is African leaders. It just contains African leaders and their followers, whatever. And this is African goals, which is basically extracts from the the one that I ask you to extract. You know, it's basically just name and Twitter handle. And the name of that sheet is called Africa Gov. So if you want to load this thing as a data frame, for example, you have to give the name is called Africa Gov. So the name is the name of the sheet. And Africa Influencers is just 100 of them here. And that is the name of this workbook is Africa Influencers. So you have to give that one. And usually you can right click on it and rename, and then you can just copy it if you want to get the name, you know, just that's, or you can create your own new sheets. Like for example, later, instead of Twitter, you can do some other ones. Instead of influencers, you can say celebrities, musicians. You can add a lot of that. Say that your country, and then you can add, for example, column here. Instead of Twitter, one Twitter name here, I will add country. You know, then in this case, I can also just search them, find which country they are from, and I will add using my Python. That's one to enrich. It's called enriching the data set, right? Okay, so that is one thing you will do as a task if you want to, like not to me to deliver, but as a collaboration, as a work. You are a worker now, so it's kind of we're all going together. There is a delivery we have to do, that is to deliver a report, to have to extract insight, but there is a lot of elements to make it strong. That delivery, we can make it strong or weak. Strong means if all of us kind of put the time, collaborate, and add elements, enrich this data, and make it so useful. So, okay. So with that, I go to now how to create. So I'm actually gonna open. Just I will search what I usually do. So it's called Google Developers Account. So that is just, you will have Google Developers Console. You know, I will share with you just in Slack. You will know where to find it. Just while I am doing this, there in the week one, I share. Okay. So where this is the one. Week one. So you should be able to see, okay? So here is like when you click that one, you will get, and you have to check in which Gmail, whatever. So for me, exactly that's what I want, my Khan Academy email. Okay, now I want to create, so there are multiple things that you can create a project, you know, Khan Academy project, for example, and I have some of my Khan Academy project, but I want to have credentials, right? So, and I click that. So, and I want to create a new, new credentials, okay? So now I want service account. So there are API keys, which are just tokens. But in this case, I want to be able to read, write, and stuff. All of them are possible, but for our service, I mean, you can read what are the differences. But for my case, I want service account. Okay. So the service account I create, I give it a name, and I call it July Corona Response. Okay, and service account description, I don't need to, but this is to read and write Google Drive, on Google Drive. Okay, so I create. Done. So set role, service created. Okay, permission. I think I want it to be editor, owner, whatever. So it's optional, so I will leave it just usually for this case. So I then continue, and then again, if it's optional, I mean, I don't want to do anything. Just I just done. and got it. Okay, now I go to Corona response and I get my keys. So there should be count keys. Okay, and add keys. Create new key, JSON. Okay, I want it to be JSON, and that is it. Now I have to save this thing. This is the file that allows me. So I will save it into my downloads folder, and then I will move it. I will show you how to move it. And then that's it. Okay, close. Great. Now I created my service account that I will use to connect with my like with any of Google's access. So I go back and I will switch to my Jupyter notebook. The Jupyter client says that I will show you from command line how I'm going to move it. But that's it. That's all done. I showed you about the like what are relevant. Or I don't know if I showed you. So the key is this one. So the sheet, like for this Google sheet, what you need is that you need this key. So https docs.google.com.spreadsheet/t, from /t to this, to the next slash, is called the sheet ID. Or if it's a document, a Google document, that is the doc ID. If it is a form, a Google form, that's a form ID. So every time you want to be able to connect with API, the ID that you need, it's a unique ID for that document, is called there, you know. Just I hope that you know. So I copy that one. Usually that's it. That's all you need. And then one more thing. Before that, I need to share. So I have to open my folder. I don't know if you will be able to see. No, okay. Like let's go to that one. But you need to. Okay, I will just go there first. Okay. So I will stop my presentation here, and I'll share it again to have on my Jupyter lab. Okay, so Jupyter lab. Okay, so here I am back. So where I want to put the Google Sheet ID is here. Whatever I copied, I will replace it. But in this case, it's the same. I know I just did it exactly, but I will replace it. Okay, basically I will replace it, the same one. And African influencers is basically the workbook name that I want, but it could be the Govs, whatever, and the other one, the African leaders one. So whatever I want to extract. And the name, so this is where terminal is nice. So what I want to do is that I want to show you what is in this, in my, whatever I downloaded. So in downloads, no, then dot JSON. So I just, first I want to list all the JSONs. So the one that I am interested is this one. This is the one I am interested. So I will, so this is the service account. When you download, what you get is called the service account, and the service account has many keys, private key, whatever. But another important thing you have to know is that the client email. So this service account has an email to which you need to copy and share the workbook that you want to work with. So in this case, so I copied this is the coronavirus, whatever, and I have to share the Google Sheet to this email because Google knows that I have access to that only if I share with that. So again, I am going back and I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna present to just this one. So I have to go back now to here onto my Google Sheet, and I'm going to share with that email that I just copied. Okay, so the coronavirus stream through ruler, whatever. Because when I do that, I am able to access using API now. I have the service account. The service account has an email, and then I will share whatever document I want to read. It could be my entire G drive. So if I want to access my entire G drive, I share the entire G drive with this email. Or if I want to access only this particular document, I share with this thing. So, the easiest is if you just share your entire Google Drive. That way you don't have everything that you put there. You will be able to access it without anything. But in this case, for this practical reason, I will just share it only with one document. But I recommend you just with your service account, if you share it with your, with entire, but be careful. If you are not sensitive yet with your thing, don't share with everything. Like if you are, otherwise some other one who has the service account could access. So, be careful, but I know how to keep mine safe. So that's why I do usually like that. But okay, now I am able to access because I shared with my service account this document. So my service account through a Python code can access this one. Okay, so then I go back now to I do this, and now I go back to present now to my Jupyter Notebook back. Okay, and that is it. But I need to I usually want to save all my credentials into one place, in a secret place where no one can find it, which is usually your home directory that has, if you are Linux, .files. So I am going to copy this usually to cp dot credentials corona .json, so that I know what it is. Maybe I will add 10 academy, 10 AC. Okay, so okay, so that's it. But I actually I should move it. I don't want it to be in my downloads document, so I moved it. So if I want to check, that this thing actually doesn't exist, if I want to really just copy that and check if it all exists, it says no such file or directory. That means I moved it. That's what the command move is. That's why I kind of earlier I gave you this introduction to Bash, because it's so fast. You can do many things, move things, whatever, from a terminal. That's much easier than going and opening whatever. Okay, so great. Now I have this file. So I go to my code. Where do I replace it in my code? I just have to replace it the kind of the authentication part that I could. That is called F authentication. I can pass it here. If I don't want to edit my code, I can actually pass it when I am so when I am here on sheet ID, after sheet ID, FATH is equal to, the name is this, and the pass is credentials. Okay, so that's it. Nothing to share. If I share the code with you, it means nothing. You don't get it. My secret, whatever, is safe. It's only a pass. That's what the thing. And even the sheet ID, you don't have access. If you don't have access, you don't have access. The sheet ID is not secret. You can share it with the rest of the world. Okay, so that's why nothing in this code is exposed from my side. Everything is secure for me if I do it that way. The same also for you, for your Twitter. Keep it in an environment variable such that you don't share it with anyone. Okay, so yeah, done. So I will just only check if yeah, so it will check automatically if it's service account or not. So the code is smart enough to do that, and I will just there will be some codes. So it says there is Adludio, whatever, but I don't want Adludio. That's because I wrote this code for that company when I was working. So I need to make sure that some things are the pass, yeah. home. So okay, self home. So this is not included. I want credentials. Is none that. So pass. Okay. So so it's credentials. Great. Okay. So I don't need even to then pass this credentials. It will automatically know the folder. So then so there will be some errors. Again, it says no, I don't find coronavirus whatever. So I will just go and check what is the pass that I created. So that is, it's called credentials. So spelling wrong, right? Yeah. So I will just copy it just for the sake of thing, and I will just exactly right. So hopefully it will get. But if there is error, I will just, I think in this case it's saying the caller doesn't have permission. So that permission error is usually for all three permissions that the sharing didn't happen properly, right? So I will go back and I will share it again because return the caller doesn't have permission. I should have permission because I shared it exactly that. So who are the owners? I'll just go again and let's just this thing. And I will copy the email, the client email. And then I'll go back. Okay, so send, share anyway. Okay, because it was I didn't share it properly, so I didn't press actually done in that. So okay, so one person added. It can tell me now. So I'll go here and I'll run it again. Yep, done. I get it back. I get my data. So of course I have to properly df.t. That's I transpose it. That's it. Then I get the Twitter name, the country, whatever it's there. Even whatever I added there is here. So if I go back and add something, then I can always just then get it. So if you edit it, but every time I run my code, it will get the latest data that is whoever has edited, right? So that's the process. I know it may be a lot to take, but this is how powerful you become every day. You not depend on one thing, keeping one file, whatever. You can work, collaborate, and your Python becomes like a place where you always have the up-to-date data. Okay, so that is for today. And I think I know it's probably not easy, but I will share with you. So the code, I will commit them now to the GitHub, so you will have access to the code. And to the data, I will create for you, like I will share only with you the data. You can create your own first, but because it's part of the assignment, I'm not gonna give you just the entire data. But if you all vote like, oh, let's get the data, but we still will kind of go through the scraping part, then it's fine. I will share with you just now. But you know, it's like I haven't decided what to do. But the code I will give you such that you can start testing it. Okay, great. So that's it for now. And in 20 minutes, I will be online to just answer some of your questions that some of you probably posted with hashtag Q week 1. So yeah, we'll until then we'll meet then. If you have any question now, just immediate question, I will see also what have I missed. I think you will have the record. So whoever missed this thing, yeah, go on, Nawal.
Okay, so Okay, so when you said we would, thank you. So when you said we would, get when we speak about data, we can get it directly to a spreadsheet. How can we get the data directly to the spreadsheet without copying it? Like take for instance, I've scraped the data and saved it as an CL, as a CSV
Sorry?
file. So I want to get it into a Google spreadsheet so that I can do the whole thing you did.
I couldn't hear you
Can you hear
properly.
me? So let me post it
Okay.
as a question.
You have not
So
discussed
I've
how
posted
we
it
get
now.
our data into the sheet. I mean, one way, are you still, yeah, you are seeing my Jupyter notebook? Do you see my Jupyter notebook?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so there, what I did was in the scraping starter, I have that. I just, you only sometimes need to write this amount of code to do everything. By the way, you just don't have to do much. And I just copy using in my G drive. I have sheet update. If I give it a data frame, it will just basically upload it, that data frame. Or another way is just simply, if you don't want, I will, I will just save it into, let's say this one, African Gulf, and then I will just copy, so basically I will just copy it, and the easiest way is, I'm gonna do this. So I copied that file. I mean, just that any output from the web, even anything from PDF from our web, you can just copy it, and then I'm gonna show you. And then you create a new sheet, and let's call it temp. Just I will delete it, right? And then I come here and I just copy, paste. That's it, done. The entire thing is got pasted. That's what is the beauty of Google Sheets. You can do many things while you are reading. You find something, you can actually keep them, like from a paper, from a thing, whatever. You can share them. So it's an easy way to do. So yeah, that's how you get it into a Google Sheet easily. Or you can use it.
Okay, thank you. That's clear.
Yeah, you can. And I did it just now because we don't need it. Great. Any question? Any other question? Just one or two questions.
Hello?
Hi, Abdila.
Yes, so where can we read more on this?
Okay, that's a very good point. I think you can just say, there's some references I will share with you, but if you Google like Google service accounts, exactly that's, like how to, and Google Sheets API, there are a lot of good resources, but I will share with you some that I think is good, especially which includes presentation. If you want to add, for example, images, whatever, into your presentation from Python, and all that. And also, if you want to read file from your Google Drive and blah blah. So I will share with you one reference in Slack, as well as also I will add it in the references section in the Google site, in our site. One last question, anyone?
Yes, you said you'll explain about the trip error.
The
Trip error that we are getting when trying to run the Twitter challenge file.
from the challenge, yeah. So
Yeah,
so you had an error.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, that's what so the challenge would be like, so in 15 minutes I will be online, and if you have posted it, your error, using like if you have posted your error, I will just investigate. In particular, when you report an error, give also a working example, like, okay, which part did you want to do? which command did you use and which line, such that I can try it and give you insight, okay? But in 15 minutes, I will be able to answer some of the questions that are posted. Great. Thanks, guys, and keep working. I know, it's a lot of things to take, but it's not that difficult. You will get used to it. And it's not that over one night that I learned everything, but the more if you practice it, you won't forget it. That's the whole point. If you don't practice it, however good you are, you will forget it. So it's in that trade-off, but we will keep practicing. That's why throughout the projects, I will give you these things and I'll make you repeat them, repeatedly use them, collaborate with them, publish them, share with the world. The world needs this data. Like I couldn't search and find. I give you even as a challenge. Search and find where you can find the African government Twitter handles. You don't find them. But if you want like influencers from Europe, you will find them. So that's the thing. It's like we are like at this forefront now, and by really making this data available, we are actually contributing to society in such a way that other people, journalists in particular, can follow and search. We can make, we can allow our local journalists to be more data-driven, information to be more a thing. So data science, on top of being, earning money for yourself, you can actually generate data that will help life in terms of quality of information, in terms of insight. So that's why I do give you these kind of tools that I use daily in my work, such that, even if you don't use it now, I know that next time you want to use it at work, it will be easier because you have seen it, you have the code somewhere. So it's kind of like that. So with that, I leave you for today. Talk to you soon. Bye, everyone.